The Art of the Steal, Volume 2 of the Navarro Report, January 5th, 2021. Executive Summary: The Art of the Steal. The Democrat Party and its political operatives, with the unwitting aid of useful idiots from the Republican Party, stole the presidential election from Donald J. Trump. The Democrat Party used a two-pronged, grand, stuff-the-ballot-box strategy to flood 6 key battleground states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, with enough illegal absentee and mail-in ballots to turn a decisive Trump victory into a narrow and illegitimate Biden-alleged win. Prong 1 dramatically increased the amount of absentee and mail-in ballots in the battleground states. Prong 2 dramatically decreased the level of scrutiny of such ballots, effectively taking the election cops off the beat. This pincer movement resulted in a flood of illegal ballots into the battleground states, more than sufficient to tip the scales from a decisive legal win by President Trump to a narrow and illegitimate victory by Joe Biden. The Democrat Party relied primarily on legal means such as legislative and rule changes at the state level to implement its grand strategy and thereby achieve its illegal outcome. However, at times, political operatives advancing the Democrat Party's grand strategy also bent, and sometimes broke, the laws and rules of that which is most sacred to our American public, our election system. Key methods used by the Democrat Party to strategically game America's presidential election included changes in the law approved by state legislatures, rule changes and new guidance initiated by secretaries of state or other election officials, court rulings and interventions, and the aggressive use of so-called public-private partnerships to commandeer and manipulate the election process in key Democrat strongholds such as Wayne County, Michigan, and Dane County, Wisconsin. Prong 1 of the Democrat Party's grand strategy used 7 basic gambits to dramatically increase the flood of absentee and mail-in ballots: relaxing mail-in and absentee ballot rules, sending absentee or mail-in ballots or applications for such ballots to every voter, universal mailing, increasing both the legal and illegal use of drop boxes, ballot harvesting, and the use of corrupted voting machines. Prong 2 of the Democrat Party's grand strategy used 5 additional gambits to dramatically decrease the level of scrutiny of the new flood of absentee and mail-in ballots into the battleground states: relaxation of ID verification, reduced signature matching requirements, illegally counting naked ballots to increase ballot curing, both legal and illegal, and reduced poll watching and observing. Democrat Party operatives frequently hid behind the shield of the Chinese Communist Party virus and resultant pandemic to further their goals of boosting the absentee and mail-in ballot counts in key battleground states. The practical result of the Democrat Party's two-pronged grand stuff-the-ballot-box strategy was to flood the 6 key battleground states with enough illegal absentee and mail-in ballots to turn a decisive Trump victory into a narrow alleged Biden victory. Key political operatives assisting the Democrat Party included Wall Street oligarch George Soros, Silicon Valley oligarch and Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Elias, former Hillary Clinton campaign general counsel and one of the alleged architects and financial conduits for Fusion GPS and the Russia hoax designed to topple a duly elected president. Soros money helped fund efforts to change election laws and rules through instruments such as referenda. Soros and his network of organizations, such as the Political Action Committee, Secretary of State Project, also helped to elect puppet secretaries of state in Michigan, Jocelyn Benson, and Pennsylvania, Kathy Bachvar, who would play instrumental roles in bending or breaking election rules and thereby advancing the grand stuff-the-ballot-box strategy. Zuckerberg money, nearly $500 million, helped engineer what was effectively a hostile Democrat Party public-private partnership takeover of what should otherwise be a nonpartisan election process in key Democrat strongholds such as Wayne County, Michigan, and Dane County, Wisconsin. Useful idiots for the Democrat Party included Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp and Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who entered into a consent decree that dramatically increased the number of absentee and mail-in ballots while dramatically decreasing the rejection rate of such ballots. Republican state legislators who voted for the bills that would help the Democrats advance its grand strategy likewise were unwitting dupes. By implementing its grand stuff the ballot box strategy, the Democrat Party and its political operatives has strategically gamed one of the most sacred elements of American democracy, our election system. This was a brass-knuckle politics played at the highest level, which has delivered a brutal punch to the nose of the American people and a vicious kick to the groin of American democracy. That the Democrat Party and its operatives have, up to this point, gotten away with their immaculate deception and art of the steal represents a signal failure of the media, Republican state legislators, other Republican government officials across the battleground states, the U.S. Congress, and our judicial branch of government at both the state and federal levels. Volumes 1 and 2 of the Navarro Report, The Immaculate Deception and The Art of the Steal, together make the strong case for a full investigation of the election irregularities and strategic gaming of our political process that in all likelihood have led to a stolen presidential election. Any such investigation must begin immediately, as this nation simply cannot risk the inauguration of a president who will be perceived by a large segment of the American people as illegitimate.